Hi, who am I? My name is Jim Holley. I'll show you who I am. Have Grandma and Grandpa Manwaring, great Grandma and Grandpa Manwaring, great Grandma and Grandpa Manwaring, great Grandma and Grandpa Holley. That's me, James Hiram Holley. I go by Jim, and my dad's name is James Holley too. You have met him actually, and I was born in England. And we joined the church and came across with a wagon company that was with the Martin handcart company. And those are the guys that got caught in the snow. Remember that story? And I was 1 year old. And my mom and dad came over with that handcart company. And we made it. We're so glad. There was them and my sister and just me so far. And I was just a little baby. Oh, I'm so glad I survived. That was what we came across as. And we came to Utah. And started kind of building a life. And my dad had he had a dugout. What is a dugout? That's a dugout. It's can you see? It's just a little. You live in a hill. That's what you do. You live in a hill. And sometimes there's a wall in the front, or sometimes there's the whole hill, but they see there's a chimney coming right out of the hill. That's what a dugout looks like. So my dad had a dugout, and we would kind of stay the night up there, which is just a little, it's just, they're kind of cramped, they are. Stay the night up there and take care of our land up there and anything we had. And it worked out fine. We didn't have a door. So this guy has a door on his dugout, but we didn't have one. We just had a piece of canvas hanging over the door, and you just lift it up and go in. That's all. That's all we had. And one night, my dad just left me there. I didn't want to stay there. I was kind of scared. It was dark, and he left. He went back 7 miles to Springville, where we lived, and I was supposed to just stay the night there and keep watching stuff, and I was just kind of scared. I could hear the wolves howling. And what if a bear came? Oh, that's a dead bear, but it was a live bear. What if a bear came? I don't know what I would do. We didn't have a door. We just had that piece of fabric over it. And so I left. I was 7 years old, and I think I was about 7 years old. And I just walked those 7 miles to Springville in the dark. Maybe that wasn't a good idea. And barefoot. I never had any shoes until I was 18. And I just walked home in the dark because I was too scared to stay there. My mom was glad when I got home. She was kind of worried about me. But and my dad, what he would do is he carried freight. So like those big semis, but you use a horse and wagon. And when he would come home, doesn't matter what time it is, how late at night, he would come home and drive up with his wagon and whistle, and I better wake up and come out no matter what time it is. And that was my job. He would go into bed, and I would put the mules away with the wagon and put the mules away. And that was my job growing up. I was a little older, and but I had to hear him whistle, and I had to get up and get out and get those mules. My dad he would whip us quite a bit when we were kids, just even for little things too. So you obeyed him. You did that pretty well. And that's my parents. And as I got older, I met a girl named Emma Isaac. And I think you've met her parents too. And they lived in Utah. And when she was 13, she operated the telegraph for our town because she knew how to do that. She was trained. And the telegraph is like the first phone. There's a girl doing it, and you use the Morse code. See that little thing her hand is on? That's how you operate the telegraph. And she knew how to do that. She was trained. And so she worked doing that for quite a few years. And we got married, and we had some kids. And these are our kids. This is James, we named him, Ferris, Tressa, Dallas, and a little girl named Mildred, and she died when she was just a baby. And then we had Hatsy, and then Ben, John, Glenn, and Donald. And Donald also died when he was just a baby. So those are our kids that we had. And we ran a farm, and we kind of had our fair share of scrapes, you know, things that would happen. Ferris broke his collarbone. That's the bone in your neck, around your shoulders there. Ouch. Let's see. Ben broke his arm, fell off the mowing machine. Dallas broke his arm, and it's still crooked. It never quite healed. It was still crooked. He just had a crooked arm. And then, and when Glenn, one of our little boys, was about 2 years old, he got a fork in his eye. Oh, ouch. And he lost sight in that eye. You gotta be careful with those forks. That happened. And then Dallas he got a little older. He got the typhoid fever. And he got so sick and just had to be in bed, and we took care of him. And the doctor said just get the sponge and some water and sponge him off every 20 minutes throughout the day and night, and just keep him clean. And oh, he got so thin and so sick. And as he finally got feeling better, he'd cry because he was so hungry. But all we could give him was some rice that had been cooked for like an hour and a half, so it was so soft. And he could have one spoonful. Okay, here you go. 1 spoonful of rice. That's all you can have at a time. Or if we got some meat that was cooked really, 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 really soft, and a little tiny piece of meat, little tiny piece, you can have that. That's all I could have, just for a few days. And then he got a little better. He could eat a little bit more. And oh, thankfully he survived that. That was typhoid fever is a bad fever. Well, there was a year, there was also one that happened to me even. The boys and I were out working with one of the machinery, and the boys were holding the rope. It slipped, the piece of machinery came down and hit me right on the head. Ow. And it went through my straw hat, of course, and pushed the straw right into my skull. We were pulling straw just out of that wound for quite a while, but thankfully it healed. That kind of happens with farm life. And we had a good farm. We had a good life. I was always finding ways to make things better and make things easier for other people too. I wanted to do that for my family and my neighbors and for my kids. There was a time I was just out on my field, and I found some wheat that looked different. You know what wheat is? It just grows. That's where you get flour from to make your bread. And if you have good wheat, you have good flour. And this wheat looked different. I don't know where it came from. There's just a few stalks of wheat in my field at just the edge, and they were huge. They were really nice. And so I kept them, and then I planted them again, so they made even more. And it was really good wheat, and people came to buy that wheat. We pretty soon had a good crop of wheat. And it was called Holley's wheat. And it was just really good. It was really big kernels. These kernels are what you grind down into flour. And I just happened to find that, and so we grew it again, and it worked out really well. And you know, farming sometimes has some hard times in it too. There was a time when our irrigation wasn't working so well, and we had a weevil get into our sugar beets, and that's not a good thing. And we told the kids, you know, Santa's poor this year too. I don't know if we're going to get a lot for Christmas, just so you guys know. But the kids were so hopeful, and they put out their stockings, and we didn't have anything to give them for Christmas. And Christmas morning, there wasn't any presents for any of our kids, and only my wife cried. She felt so bad. The kids didn't even cry. They were Okay, we felt bad, but we told him, Santa's going to make it up to you next year. Santa's going to make it up to you next year. We'll get some better, we'll have some money by then. We'll get some better presents. And we did. We got so many presents and candy and nuts to eat. Boy, and all their stockings were full. And even when they went to put on their shoes were full of candy and stuff. Oh, man. They were so happy. We were glad for that Christmas. My wife, Emma, was very sweet. She had rheumatism as she got older, and it hurts, and it's hard to move around, and not a lot you can do for it. But even so, all the kids, we had an organ in the house, and all the kids loved to hear her play that organ. She'd sit down at her organ before we go to bed. And there's a signal it's time to go to bed, and she'd play Over the Waves. And they always wait for that song before the kids would go to bed. And that's my family. That's us. It was nice to meet you.